Authority Alchemy.
Authority Alchemy.
The show for positioning yourself as the number one authority in your industry.
Quickly turn your prospects into clients and clients into raving fans.
Here are your hosts,
Brian Horn and Jack Mize.
And here we are again, time for the
Authority Alchemy Podcast.
That's right. This is Jack Mize along with
Brian Horn.
Fantastic. We got a really good show today, which is we're going to be talking about, I guess it's a authority mindset, but sometimes that word mindset's a spooky word for folks, isn't it?
That can be a little scary.
What's the whole theme of the mindset industry? It's the people that need it most are the ones that stay away from it. So, we were supposed to sugarcoat it and disguise it as not mindset. But, the fact is, that's one of the biggest questions we get is, I don't know that I'm quite ready to call myself an authority or expert. So we're going to talk about that today. But first, we want to give a little bit of a shout out. I think that's the first time as an adult I've ever used that term shout out.
Your kids would be so proud.
Is that hip? Is that hip?
I think it was at one time. I don't know if it still is.
Okay.
I think as soon as some 40-year-old white guys start talking about it on a podcast, I think the cachet and coolness is probably gone from just about everything.
It is. I did strike the word neato out of my vocabulary fairly recently. So yeah, that's it. Oh boy. I can't keep up. But we do want to give a shout out to some of the folks that have left us some great reviews and comments out on iTunes. Why don't you grab one of those and what do you have there? Read one over here.
The first one is by, from, it looks like Geekazoid, where the two E's are actually threes, but I believe it's Geekazoid. And Geekazoid said, just finished the first episode and I'm hooked already. I'm excited and cannot wait on the other episodes. This is just the push I needed to get myself out there. Thanks for the valuable info. All
right, beautiful. Geekazoid. That's clever. I like that.
I like Geekazoid. And then we've got one on from iTunes Australia. This is great work, Brian and Jack. You're right on the money. For too long, the experts and their personal promotion has been sickening. Let's hope they're listening. This is from Launch Guy over in Australia.
Very good. The experts hope the experts are listening. We do too. That's what we want, is the experts to be listening.
That'd be great.
Because we actually consider each and every one of you experts.
Absolutely.
Isn't it? And that's really the theme of the show today is the claiming of authority.
Well, before we go that far, we do have a little something for...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we almost jumped past that. For those two people that we read their reviews online, contact us over our Facebook page, facebook.com/Authority Alchemy, and we've got some free iTunes gift cards for you. So please start doing that. We'll start doing this on a regular basis. So thank you so much for leaving those comments and rating and reviewing us.
That's right. And we want to see some ID with Geekazoid and Launch Guy on them, all right?
That's right.
So, yeah, hit us up on Facebook. So we certainly do appreciate all the comments and reviews that we've gotten on iTunes. So, the mindset, the authority mindset, and there's so much to it. And one of the big ones that where people, I think, get lost is, are they ready to claim their authority? Are they really expert enough? Do they know enough about their industry? Right. And, we kind of went into this on episode 1. So if you want to kind of deepen that, go back to episode 1 and listen to that. But we want to, reinforce some of that today. And first of all, let's go back and define. The show is Authority Alchemy. What is the definition that we have of alchemy? What is authority alchemy?
Well, alchemy is the process of turning something ordinary into something special. From back in the Middle Ages, when they were trying to find ways of turning metals into gold, is turning regular metal into something very special like gold. And we're taking the authority element of that and taking a person who sees himself as a regular person into the process of a very special authority in their industry on this particular topic.
It is, and really it begins. And I'm going to tell you right now, and we've had this discussion, and it really does change a lot of people's thoughts, and it's amazing how powerful this is in changing just the people's their self-esteem or what they think about themselves. Is no one is going to walk up to you and anoint you an authority, right? Nobody's going to come and give you a certificate, a license that says you are now an official authority,
you are officially ready for the big time.
And can I tell you, if you go somewhere and someone tries to sell you a certificate of authority, then you might want to think about going somewhere else. I don't know if can you sell those here?
I'm sure you can.
I bet you can. You can buy a certificate of authority. So the alchemy is the process of turning something ordinary into something special. It's a common theme through even stories and tales. You think about spinning straw into gold. That's exactly what people feel that there's something that may be unattainable, but it is, and it's much simpler than a lot of people think about it. And it's more about doing the things, like we talked about in episode 1, doing the things that are required to have other people call you the expert. Right. And it's not about calling yourself the expert. And that's where I think a lot of people have big hangups. I can't really call myself the expert. I don't feel comfortable calling myself the expert. Right. Well, good. Don't.
Right. That was taught for so long. When I first came into the world of marketing, that's what was taught us. And nobody's ever going to claim you the guru or claim you the expert. You have to claim it yourself. Just tell them you anoint yourself the expert of X. And this was back in the, I guess like in the 90s and the early part of 2000s. And it worked. I did it myself. I know a lot of other people did also. I said, okay, nobody's ever going to call me an SEO expert. I'll just call myself an SEO expert. I went out there and it seemed to work, but like all things, the things that work like that come to an end. Those things has really been overdone where everybody's doing that now and it's lost its magic.
Well, it's saturated. Yeah. I mean, that's everybody. I'm an expert. I'm an expert. I'm an expert. And the fact that you are hesitant to call yourself the expert, I think, is a good quality.
Right.
But that's what authority alchemy is. That's where the alchemy comes in. It's about getting other people to recognize you as an expert without you ever having to say that. And, one of my favorite sayings that I think really puts a spotlight on this is, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. And what that demonstrates is, get out of your head that I need to know everything about my industry. And 2, I need to know more than anyone else about my industry.
Absolutely. And one of the things I posted this on Facebook a little while back is that an expert is somebody who knows more and more about less and less. Like really just niching down what you're going to be the expert at, not worrying about everything. If you think about let's go doctors. The doctors that make the most money is not a general family practitioner. They do fine, but if it's some guy that treats a very rare specific type of condition in the brain, and people fly all over the world to see him, he makes a ton of money.
That's right. And he may not be the one that knows the most about what he is doing, but he meets at least my criteria of the expert. 1, he knows more about it than 99% of the population, and 2, he's willing and able to help the people that seek him out.
Absolutely.
If you can meet those 2 criteria, you're willing and able, and you know more than your prospects, and you're able to help them, then you meet that criteria of the expert, and you deserve authority. Mm-hmm. If you want somebody to anoint you, I'm doing it right now. Brian, I'm sure you will too. We now anoint you and proclaim you an authority.
Insert magic chime sound here.
Ding. That's it. So you're an authority, and that's really what it is. So, but what I want to do is, don't go around start calling yourself an authority now. That's not what we're saying. If you said, Brian and Jack said I should call myself an authority, you'd be wrong. Right? What I want you to do is eliminate I'm an expert, I'm an authority, and replace that with I'm an educator and an advocate for the success of my prospects and my customers. And this is so important and has changed a lot of people's lives, a lot of my clients and students. Soon as they get that, soon as that hits them and they have that V8 moment, it changes everything. And it's a much easier position for them to accept. You're there to educate and be an advocate. And we talk about that with a lot of the business gurus that everybody knows. We use a lot of them, common ones are, Dave Ramsey, Dr. Oz, Susie Orman, all of those. That's what they do. They're educators and they're advocates for the success of the people that are following them.
And they're just passionate about their crowd. You look at, we mentioned, I think we did last week, the week before, we talked about Richard Simmons. And he's a little nutty, but that man cares more about his crowd than I think anybody else in the industry. I mean, he literally is, in tears talking to them and really just, visits them in hospitals and just is very focused on their success. He's a total advocate for his crowd.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And there's no other way that a man like that could be as successful as he is,
right,
doing what he does without being that educator and the advocate.
Yeah.
Right?
How can a fitness guru be in fitness for 30 years and still never been fit once the whole time?
And I think that right
God
there, in the term, the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. He doesn't have to be in the best shape.
No, he has to hang out with really unhealthy people.
He has to be in better shape than the people that he's helping, right? You know, what's the old saying? To a fourth grader, the fifth grader is God, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is. And so don't feel that you are doing a disservice to anyone. As long as you're able to help your prospects and you're willing and able to help them, you certainly are an authority. So that's really what it is. That's what an authority is. It's someone that is an educator and advocate. Now, to get this, I really want to stress that a lot of people go around this whole, authority marketing. They do it backwards, or they don't start from the beginning, right? Because how many people come to us and say, all right, I need to put out a press release.
Right.
I need to, how do I get more fans on Twitter, or followers on Twitter? How do I get more fans on Facebook? I need to make some videos on YouTube. That's what I need to do. And they're talking about the mechanical parts of it. And so one of the things that we really want to stress is before you spend a dime or before you spend any time at all in putting these mechanical things, these tactics to use, you have to know what you're going to say.
Absolutely.
You're going to have to know your positioning. You're going to have to define that persona. You can go sign up for your YouTube. You can get your Facebook page. You can do all that, and you're ready. But if the message isn't right, you're spinning your wheels. You're wasting your money. You're wasting your advertising budget, and that's where so many people do it wrong.
Right. Where your mind, when you come from this, your mindset where this comes from, just seeps into everything without you even knowing it. So even if you're not planning, if you, like what Jack just said, if you think of yourself as a educator and advocate from the beginning, before you start creating content and pushing out there, versus how can I sell more? How can I be more successful? How can I be more recognized? It's going to totally change your type of content you put out.
It is, and it's also going to change the positioning to where people give you that title of authority or expert instead of you having to constantly proclaim yourself. And that's where people are making the mistake. If they say, I need a Facebook page, I need to just start doing videos, and without any guidance or without any purpose, they just hit the record button, what is their natural tendency to do?
Right, talk about themselves.
Brag about themselves. Talk about me. Right now, here's what I would encourage each and every one of you to do. If you don't have it in front of you, make a note to do this. If you've ever created a video for your business, if you've ever created a free report for your business, go and read it, look at it, and I want you to count how many times you say or have written the word I or we versus the word you.
Right.
And I think you'll immediately see that's where the mistake that most people make. If you go and look at most videos, it goes back into the day of, Crazy Larry on TV. I'm this, so that you see it really big in the personal injury attorney space, right? I'm, what do we have a guy
I'm
here?
The Texas Hammer.
I'm the tough, smart lawyer.
Right.
Right? And me. Look at what I've done. Look how long I've been in business. Look at the awards that I've won.
Right.
And you're immediately not being the educator and the advocate, because when you listen to a Dave Ramsey show or whatever, it doesn't start and he immediately says, "Well, here's what I've accomplished.
Right.
Here's everything I've done." I don't remember last time I've heard him say anything about what his background is.
Yeah, not much. He promotes, lightly promotes his, he has seminars and stuff. But that's about it. He's really good. He's very good about that.
Yeah, and people seek them out. How can I get more of that? How can I find out more? How can I get more of what you're talking about?
Right.
Because they are hooked. They are it's magnetic, and that's exactly what being the educator and advocate does. Is people see you as that person that is concerned, and you are the natural selection, the natural choice for them to want to work with them. And so some examples of some of these tools that people jump to immediately. How many podcasts have you heard that really have no purpose other than we're going to talk about ourselves again this week and what we can do and how we can do it? Right. From any industry, I'm talking about from photography to fitness
everywhere.
It's all about, here's what I've done. Let me kind of hit my chest. They might as well call it the resume show, right? And that's not going to do the trick. You're not going to get people following you along. YouTube is one of the, you can spend a day out there. You can spend weeks out there compiling and cataloging the videos of people that thought they were doing video marketing the right way. That is nothing but look at me, look at what I've done, look at this. If you want some of it, give me a call.
Oh yeah, some of those, I won't say, but I won't name the company, one of the MLM companies that sells blogs. All their marketing that's all it is. Every person offering the same thing. Look how much money I made. Look how awesome I am. Yeah,
that's it. And it comes from, especially if people are trying to sell success, they're like, well, let's go and stand in front of this mansion that may or may not be mine. Yeah. Look, there's a Lamborghini. Let's take a video. And it just kind of reeks of, I don't know what it's just not flattering. Of course, it works to some people.
Oh, yeah.
But the fact is, if you're looking for long-term clients, if you're looking for long-term relationships and not just, transactions, it's not going to work for long. All right. And people aren't going to be able to stand to be around you, if that's all you're doing is talking about yourself.
Yeah.
And so the videos are one. Go watch them. And if you've ever done a video, be honest with yourself. What did you say in that video? Were you speaking to a problem? Were you speaking to a person? And if you're not, now's the time to reposition yourself.
Yeah, and just to prove that point, when I was doing some, I talked about some during the episode about press releases a couple ago, two episodes ago, we talked about press releases, and I had gotten a bunch from a mastermind I'm in for about 8 to 10 people in the mastermind gave me their press releases, and I loaded them up, and the system I was using automatically picks out the use of the words I and we. They're not allowed in press releases. And it was like just boom, they were just filled with them. I had to rewrite the entire ones just because it was all written that way. The entire thing was just, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this. We did this. We're having a great success with this. So it just proves point when you do that, if you can go back and look at articles you've written, even look at sales pages you've written. You may have been hired a copywriter to write sales page for you. Look it on there. It should not be in there at all. You should always be using the word you and putting yourself in their in your reader's mind.
Yeah. How's it going to? How's it going to affect? It's the old WIFM, right? The what's in it for me. That's what people want. They want to see your resume. And if you ever doubt this or curious about this, just put on your consumer hat. That's all you got to do. And think about what you look for. Think about how you look at things when you're trying to decide on using something and what works for you. What's best for you.
Right. And I take myself out. When I do that, I take it out of marketing because I know the marketing world so well. I can't be honest when I look at my stuff through marketing or look at some other pieces. But if I look at how I respond to something in the fitness industry, that's why I go back and look at things now because I will. Like there was one I just bought. Another guy has a podcast about the paleo lifestyle, and he had a product. I looked at it, and I just get sucked into those. Like the marketing stuff, I can blow up on all the marketing stuff, but it comes to the paleo stuff or CrossFit or some other fitness things. I get sucked into those just like people do with the marketing stuff because it's not my element. I don't know anything about it. So I go back and look at things like that and see what they did that worked.
Yeah.
Every time it's just like that. They put themselves in your place. That I know I was a 40-year-old person that kept doing different diet plans and they never really worked. But then I did this one, and all of a sudden it worked. And you can do it too. So I've been there where you are. It's just amazing how that stuff.
And it's so easy to put the word "you" into any of that stuff.
Yeah.
To switch it around. But there's things like email newsletters. Social media, people don't, they want to be educated. They want to feel like you're the one that is looking out for them in a genuine sense,
Right.
and to look out for them doesn't mean that you have to do what you do for free, right? But you're educating them to where they say, yes, that's what I need to do. Is that something that you can do for me? I often use an analogy of a doctor. And this is where a lot of people get, their positioning, and we're going to do a whole show on positioning. But, when you go to a doctor, the doctor doesn't come in and say, all right, what do you want? I've done this. I've performed this many surgeries. I've done this. You want to know that they're capable, right?
Right.
But you want them to talk about you and your problem, right? And so what does a doctor do? A doctor listens, they diagnose, and they prescribe. And by listening, when you're being an educator and advocate, you have to listen. And that's why some people start way ahead of time, is they don't even know who their audience is. They don't know what their audience pains are. They don't know. All they know is, here's what I do. You should buy it.
Right.
Right. I'm a fitness person. Here I can show you how to lose weight. I can show you how to do this, but without understanding what your audience is and where they're coming from and what their pains are, you're missing a big part of that. And so you have to pre-listen before you even make a video, before you send out a newsletter, before you do a social media. Who are you talking to?
Right.
Right. And that's where a lot of people miss out on that. And then when you can say, based on what I've heard, based on the pains that I know you have, my suggestion would be that you do X, Y, and Z. And when you make those suggestions, what have you just done? You've educated them around their pain, around their problem. You've made a suggestion on, here's what I suggest you do. You haven't said, well, based on what you've told me, you should buy my X product, you should buy my this service, any of that. You say, based on my suggestion, here is a solution to what your problem is. And then that is your prescription, right? You've diagnosed what their problem is in their prescription. And at that point, what are they going to do? Are they going to say, wow, that sounds really good. Let me go find somebody that can do that for me.
Right.
You've already implanted yourself as the educator. You've shown that you're concerned with their success. The natural, what's going to gravitate them towards you is, well, is that something you can do for me? Is that something that I can find out more about from you? That goes back to the Dave Ramsey. If Dave Ramsey is talking about, here's what you should do based on this problem, you've run up this credit card problem, you've gone into this debt. My suggestion would be that you do X, Y, and Z. And the natural thing, wow, that's great. Do you have some kind of course on that? Do you have more information on that? They naturally want to gravitate to you. And you can do that. And once you understand what that message is, once you understand and you position yourself and you see yourself as that educator and advocate, that's when you can begin to start talking about this on webinars, on podcasts, in videos, on social media. And it's not something that you have to wait. Well, let me wait down the road 3 months to do. This is something you can make a decision today that I'm an educator and advocate. If you're listening to this right now and you say to yourself, I'm getting expert out of my vocabulary, I am an educator and advocate, you're at the starting point now. That's it. That's really where the mindset is. What have you seen when you actually have that conversation with some of your clients? And I know a lot of times it's not what they come for.
Right.
They come for the mechanical part. They come from the tactical part. But when we start talking to them about, well, where's your voice as an educator and advocate? That's when they have that moment of, oh my gosh, I never even considered this. And it's not. And then when we started out the show, we talked about mindset. It's not really something people buy. They want, it's something that they stay away from. But once they get it, it's very important. What kind of moments have you seen with your clients before you start writing a press release for them, when you start going through that process of discovering what is press worthy and what's authority about them? Do they realize that change in their positioning?
Well, yeah. One of the first things we see is when people come on, they feel they have nothing. They'll say they have nothing press worthy to talk about, anything really interesting going on. And then after we dig into what they actually are doing and show them with the authority press release model that we have, that one of the main things I like doing is what I call the protagonist angle on it, where you try to make them into the hero of their industry by serving their customers. So we say, okay, you're gonna, that's one of the things we did. I may have mentioned this one before. We did one that was targeting orthodontists, and their big fear right now is the implementation of the Affordable Health Care Act. And so the guy that was writing, we made him the hero of all orthodontists, because he was going to show them how to make more money with less clients so that they didn't have to have that problem. So he became the advocate for orthodontists. and saving them from this the big evil thing of Obamacare. And man, it worked. I mean, he crushed it with it. He thought there was nothing. He goes, I just have a marketing program for orthodontics. There's nothing sexy about that. And I said, you're right, but there is something sexy and good about educating doctors that they can avoid this one thing they're most scared of by this really cool guy that's going to show them how to do it because he loves them so much. And that's the angle we went at.
Yeah, and so there's always a way. If you are doing something, a service for a fee, guess what? You know something that other people are willing to pay for. And that doesn't mean that you have to keep it a secret, that no, I can't tell you exactly how I do it or why I do it, because the fact is, it doesn't matter. I take my car to get the oil changed. I'm not peeking over the window like, I'm going to see how this guy does this so I can do it the next time. I want that to be done for me. So that's really what it is positioning yourself in that way. And when you educate them, you're not just educating them around the solution of their problem. You're educating them and teaching them to do business with you.
Right.
You're teaching them to want to be your client. You're teaching them that you are apples and oranges from all the other folks that are out there beating their chest saying I'm the best.
Right. And people are always looking for, you touched on this also, people are always looking for ways to avoid pain, to get away from their pain. People are generally not looking for ways to enjoy things more, ways to increase your value in their life. You're looking for ways to avoid bad stuff, not looking for ways to get to good stuff. So as you are an educator and advocate for your world, those are things you want to focus on. Like, how can I help my prospects avoid pain? What pain do they have? How can I help them? And just going with that mindset completely changes the content you're going to put out there. And Jack and I talked before the show, what can we do in this episode to help the listeners the most? And we actually will go through and make our little show notes and try to find the ways to help you guys the most.
Yeah, exactly. And in each of these parts, we're going to do whole episodes on how to be the educator and advocate, when you're doing videos, how to be the educator and advocate if you're putting out free reports, because it's very positioned. But today is really about you making that decision that, yes, okay, that's what I'm an authority. You were having a problem calling yourself an authority or an expert because you really didn't understand that definition, or the definition was something a little bit different. As long as you understand the definition of that expert or that authority is, I'm an educator and an advocate, and you make that decision today, I promise you're going to have a whole lot easier time going forward on what you're going to say to your prospects, how you're going to say it, and what vehicles of social media or video or email that you're going to say it in. It's going to change the way you make decisions around that.
Yeah. Can I tell my Last Dragon story?
Of course. If you really want people to know that you were that into...
Oh, man, I love that movie.
All right.
There's a guy, actually, a friend of mine on Facebook that just asked the other day, said, I asked a general question, like, what movie do you always watch no matter what if it's on? And this is like one of my, I have no idea why I like this so much, but it's a movie called The Last Dragon. It was like in 84, 85. It was, Barry Gordy produced. It was a, kung fu movie that took place in Harlem. And just, it's a hilarious movie. I love it. But the main character is Leroy, and he's a martial artist, he's a kung fu guy, and he's trying to reach the final level, the level of master, become a kung fu master. And his he asked his current master, what do I need to do to reach that final level? He's made it through a whole series of stuff, and there's one more level he has to get till he can consider himself a master. And so his current master sends him on a quest to go find, I forgot probably exactly what he was finding, but he had to go find the master, some dumb guy, some dumb guy. But that's how he was. He had to go find him. It ended up being he went through this whole process to get there. It ended up being a fortune cookie, a computer in a fortune cookie factory. And so he came back to him and said, why did you send me on a quest where it's impossible to solve? And the master said, what can I do? He gets on, what can I do to finally be the master? And he said, there's something like there's the one place you haven't looked at. It's only there where you can reach the final level and become the master. And it ended up being at the end of the story was that he just had to realize himself that he was already ready to be a master. And he realized that when he was getting the crap beat out of him and being drowned, and finally clicked then, he's about to die. He said, I am the master. He pops up and is the master, starts glowing and beats the bad guy up, and it's awesome. That's
a story. Isn't that's the moral of so many stories? You go back in from poetry to Fat Albert cartoons, right?
Yeah.
Is the answer's in you. You can go talk to the world heavyweight champion of boxing, and if they're candid, they're going to tell you they have doubts. They're wearing the championship belt, saying that you are the best in the world, but behind closed doors, they have doubts that, well, they could be a little better, they can be that. But they don't carry it out there. They own that. They claim that authority, and that's what you're doing. If you decide that you're an educator and advocate, then you've decided it. I know Brian and I, we proclaimed you authorities, but it doesn't matter until you proclaim yourself that authority by being the educator and advocate. And as soon as you do that, that's when things are going to change. That's when you're going to walk with a different swagger. That's when you're going to start creating content from a different angle. And you're going to see some really remarkable things happen when you do make that decision and start putting yourself out there that way. And it's much easier to do than to say, I got to go tell people I'm an expert, when instead I'm going to go educate and I'm going to be an advocate for the success of my prospects and my customers. And, well, it's coming. It's time. It's the authority hack.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's finally time for authority hacks. It may be Brian's or it may be Jack's. You'll appear to be famous, then you will claim us to be the kings of authority hacks. It's time for authority hacks. It's time for authority hacks.
All right, the authority hack.
We've got a good one today.
We do, and this is another one. And you when you went through the press release on the anatomy of a press release, I touched on it a little bit, I think, but really to put a spotlight on it today, this is really a very, very simple hack. If you just spend a few moments going through to do a little bit of research, you can get some really powerful response out of this, and it really allows, again, what we say, allow your prospect, allow your viewer to paint the picture. And this is a perfect way to do that. So how would you do that?
Sure. So this one is all about using celebrity quote, quote, endorsements. And it's not going to be an endorsement if it's an endorsement of the industry you're in or the importance of what you are selling. So let's say, for example, you are a nutritionist. You have a website where you're selling nutrition programs. You can go and go into Google, and you can just type in Jillian Michael quotes or quotes about nutrition, and you'll get a few sites that'll pop up. Brainy Quote is the one I like. So you can go there and find a quote about what you're selling. Like, let's say you're doing one on like your weight loss, and you can find a quote from a famous person, like there's one from Dr. Phil McGraw. And it says, successful weight loss takes programming, not willpower. So on your site, you have a picture of Dr. Phil with a quote below it. Successful weight loss takes programming, not willpower. Maybe on a sales page where you're offering a weight loss program. And right then, you're not tying Dr. Phil to, you're just doing a quote like the people do with those meme images. But you have that there, and that is Phil McGraw saying that weight loss programs are important.
Yeah, and really, like, so if you get it very specific, so this is a perfect example, maybe not perfect. Again, it's Phil McGraw.
Yeah.
On weight loss.
We can find other ones.
Okay, but you can do a lot. So if, let's say, if you're a nutritionist and you have a special program, right? Obviously, people like to buy programs. People like to think that there's a special kind of trick or loophole or tactic, something that they haven't heard before, when in reality they know, hey, do a setup, eat less, you're going to lose weight, right? But people don't want that. That's not what they're going to buy. And they know that willpower, obviously, is the enemy of most when it comes to, although I do have willpower. My last year's New Year's resolution was to not drink any straight vinegar this year. And dang it, I've stuck to it.
Dude, just for the vinegar, about 2 months ago, I was at my in-laws' house. I had a really sore throat. My grandmother, who's from my mother-in-law, who's from Mexico, said, "Here, you need to gargle this. You need to gargle this vinegar." And I was going, "No," and she goes, "Oh yeah, it works. It'll completely clear it up." I did that, and I literally thought I was going to, my throat completely swelled up shut. My face was red, and eyes are running. And she's, "Oh, it's never done that to me before." And I said, almost killed me. It was horrible. Just
See, that right there is not an authority.
No, I will not believe
All right.
her authority on health anymore.
Remember the criteria, right? The criteria is that you know more and you're able and willing. She was willing to help you,
Yep.
just wasn't quite able to do it. Here, try
Really
this.
not able.
Yeah. So, but if you have a weight loss program, or you're a nutritionist and you have a special diet that you put together, a special program, then having a quote on your site from other people in the fitness industry, you don't want to put on there, you don't want to write out some, fake testimonial from them that they're saying
Right,
you're the
no.
best. You don't have to have them say that you're the best, but having something from a famous, a celebrity person in the nutrition industry, and here, Dr. Phil, not quite a slave to nutrition that he probably would like people to think he is, but, by having a quote on there saying successful weight loss takes programming, not willpower. That is a quote attributed to celebrity that speaks directly to your audience. And it gives you that association, that authority by association that
Right.
we talked about. So again, don't make up testimonials or have them but just have it in quotes somewhere on your site that here's some people that feel the same way I do. It's not just me that thinks that. Here's some other authorities that you may know, like, and trust that reinforce what I'm doing. And that right there is a very quick authority hack that you can have available to you immediately. BrainyQuote.com, right? We'll put the link here under the post on authorityalchemy.com. You can go there. You can find all kind of quotes that you can use for this and find something that is just laser focused to what you're doing in the ad or the page that you're using at. But if you do that, it can be extremely, extremely effective way to get that power and that authority by association.
Right, and one of the benefits of this also is when somebody, or one of the aspects when somebody's trying to buy something from you, it's not just, is it going to be this person? It's, do I need this? Is this type of thing the right solution for me? And this kind of stuff will address that concern. They have said, okay, this is true. Dr. Phil or Jillian Michaels, whoever said that, you're right. Willpower is not as I can't do it just on willpower. I need a program.
Yeah, and you're reinforcing their thoughts. They know, okay, that's exactly right. If you don't want to put a quote on there from Dr. Phil saying, hey, just do a setup and eat less, you'll lose weight. Because that's not what they want to hear. They want to know that you have something that is really going to push them and give them the result that they want. And oftentimes, it may not be any more than you have a special mindset that gets them thinking that way, or you have a special way that gets them thinking about the right things to eat or the right things to do. But by having reinforcement from someone they know, like, and trust is incredibly powerful.
Right.
So definitely take that and use that immediately.
Yeah, very easy one to apply. Just so if you have a WordPress blog, you can go and just put that up in the in your sidebar. Put a couple of those on your sidebar for each page, and you're rocking, ready to go.
There it is. Hey, we have a new little segment coming in this week that we'll be introducing every now and then, and that is bringing in some folks of authority in their industries that have demonstrated authority and kind of get around inside of their head a little bit to authority. So, Brian, I know this is one that you've cooked up. Tell us what we are going to hear.
Yeah, and this week's Profile of Authority, I have Carrie Murphy. She's the host of Inspired Living TV, and just a really cool woman. So we're gonna dig into exactly what she does and how she claims her authority there. And she's actually in a really a niche I think you guys will enjoy hearing about. Also, probably talk to someone about that. Is about how to look good on camera, how to conduct yourself on video to have that authority presence. So we're going to get into that and probably get some good tips from her also that you guys could immediately apply to your own videos that you're making.
That is important for a lot of people. There's, I guess one of the lucky ones that just kind of comes naturally to me. But
mine is having lots of filters on the camera. That's my trick.
I just smear the gauze on the lens and smear the Vaseline on the lens, and that takes care of it.
So that line from Tootsie, where it's like, how far back can we get the camera to make her look good? How's the moon?
All right, awesome. Well, let's listen to a segment of this, and I think you're going to enjoy this. Take it away. Now, what was the moment? What was when you decided that, you know what, I do know more than folks that need my help. I'm able and I'm willing to help them, and I can confidently look them in the eye and say, I can help you. And knowing that, and the day that you finally decided that, you know what, I am an authority, I am someone that can help folks with this.
Well, I remember that day well, Jack. I was living in Los Angeles, and before I actually stepped into Inspired Living full-time, I was still auditioning. I still have an agent, and if it's right, I'll go out. But, if any of you have been to LA, you know what it's like to drive there. So living by the beach, I had to drive to get into Hollywood. So by the time I got hair and makeup ready, which takes some time, you get in your car, you drive, you actually park, you go in, you sign in, you get to the audition, and then you leave. It is the entire day. And at that point, I was starting to feel like, gosh, why am I giving up a day for 2 minutes for someone to try to see if I'm, worthwhile to hire or whatever. I just didn't get it. But this was the day that I said I'll never do it again. It was for a job at the Atlantis Hotel, and it was a $10,000 gig. And I'm like, okay, at the time I wasn't making all the money I wanted. I'm like, 10 grand, I'd be happy with that. So did the whole thing, hair and makeup, got in the car. Not only that, I was wearing a bathing suit, which, you know what? I'm happy with my body, but when you get to LA, the women there, hello people, like, it's crazy. Like, it's crazy, the level of, anyway, that's a whole nother story. So I walk into this room, and I literally see over 300 girls. 300 in this casting room. And, I know I'm good on camera. At this point, I have worked for E! and TV Guide, and I was booking some really great stuff. So it's not that I didn't have the belief, but it was at that moment. I waited 3 hours that day. I was almost in tears. And I remember talking to my agent. He said, Carrie, why didn't you just call me? We would have got you in there sooner. But the point of the matter is, I waited 3 frickin' hours to walk into a room in a bikini, trying to prove that I was good enough for this job. And it was literally at that moment I said to myself, I will never do this again. And it was from that point on. Now, will that mean I won't ever audition again? No. But I'm not going to put myself out there in a way that compromises who I am, that is trying to prove that I'm good enough. But that was it. That was the breaking point for me. I remember driving home in tears going, I'm never doing this again.
Yeah, I pulled a good quote off your site that spoke to this, and I loved it. It's something Jack and I were just talking about with our upcoming podcast. And it said, Carrie Murphy, you have to stop waiting for someone else to validate your talent and start doing your own thing.
Yes.
Yeah, love that. That's exactly what the authority we talk about. That's what that is all about. We're just showing the authority mindset. We're getting ready to do an authority mindset of getting people to push themselves past it and realize that they are ready to be an authority, and then changing their thinking of what an authority is. And you nailed it right there. So that's great.
Yeah,
I work with my clients a lot on that too. Sorry to interrupt you, Jack.
No, that's exactly what I was going to ask you about. What you face, those common challenges you face where people are a little bit unsure of themselves, and what you do to get them kind of change their mindset around owning and understanding that they are an authority, or they are that expert, because it's not something that you can be kind of coy about, or
no.
and there's some people that might want to do that, and what you do, or if there's a secret little trick you use to get them past that or over that, the what if games that people like to play with themselves.
Oh yes, I know them well.
if there's those common ones that you find that and any little tricks you have to get people past those.
Well, of course it's what if people don't like me, right? What if I fail? What if I'm not going to, get the results for people that they're trusting me with? And when I started Inspired Living, I wasn't 100% sure what the brand was really about. I knew for sure that I wanted to help people transform their lives from just, wishing or feeling that yearning in your belly to actually going out there and monetizing and doing something that you love. I mean, it's truly amazing, but it's so cliche. We hear that all the time. And then I got a huge hit upside the head about 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half, that was like, why aren't you teaching entrepreneurs how to be on camera? I mean, I have taught on camera. I have been a manager. I've been an agent. I've been a TV host for national shows. Why am I not teaching people how to authentically show up on camera? So I started doing that, and it's called Ignite Your It Factor. And it's that thing, it's that quality that attracts people to you, and you don't even have to try. It's just you being you. And so to answer your question, I think when you're claiming your authority, it's first of all, what is something that you do that is just so easy that you take it for granted, like me being on camera. It's so easy now. I don't even think about it. And then I saw, oh my gosh, look at all these entrepreneurs trying to do videos, and holy moly, they're not very good. Holy moly, like they really need some help, like learning how to authentically be themselves. And I always put out there, with all the competition, with all the stuff that you see that we're inundated with every day, it's a little cheesy, but it really does drive home the point that there is never, ever on this earth going to be another person like you, and if Warren Buffett or Einstein or Richard Branson or whoever thought that they weren't Oprah, thought that they weren't going to be anything, right? Look at the impact. Look at the difference the world would be around us. And so it's not about not having doubt. I think doubt is human, but I think having conviction and determination are the things that separate those from those who wish for something and those who actually go out there and create it. And it doesn't mean you don't have obstacles along the way, but you are an expert when you stand for something. When you unwaver, when you don't waver on a position, and that doesn't mean that it's always going to be liked. And I think that's really hard too, especially when you start putting yourself out there on camera. I mean, people can be very mean. It still blows my mind. Like, what do you people do in your life that you have to say those things to other people? But I think also really understanding your value and what you bring to the market, and that no one will ever bring it the way that you can. And I think that's something that you can kind of just sink your teeth into. And I always say the more of you can be in your business, in your videos, the greater your following will be. Because who wants another one of anyone else? I don't want a copycat, and I don't want someone who's selling me the map. I want someone who is committed to being themselves and will help me get a solution that I don't know already.
Okay, and that was just a piece of the full interview. We'll be releasing the full one on Thursday. So you can listen to the full interview we did with Carrie on Thursday. You can either go to the site and listen to it. You can go to download it from iTunes. And I really hope you guys enjoy it, man. This is a really neat new segment I think you are going to enjoy. We've got some amazing guests lined up that you're not going to believe. We're talking well-known TV people. We've got some really cool stuff lined up.
Yeah, and and they're people that have applied the alchemy. They're ordinary folks that have really turned what they do into something special and extraordinary.
Absolutely.
And it's the same thing that really is available to everyone. So today, hopefully you've made the decision to become that educator and advocate. If you're ready to claim your authority, you can go onto authorityalchemy.com, hit the Claim Your Authority button, and we can help you claiming your authority in as little as 48 hours. So definitely check that out. And I'd like to congratulate Geezer Girl and Launchpad for their winning their iTunes, for leaving us. We just kind of draw those at random. So if you do leave us a review, who knows? We may be picking you to get some free iTunes gift cards, and you can check that out. You can claim those out on Facebook.com
our Facebook page is probably the best place.
Go to Facebook.com/Authority Alchemy and hit us up there, and we'll get you your iTunes. And of course, we always love to hear anyone's feedback on this show as well. So until next week, Brian.
Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. This is Brian Horn and Jack Mize with Authority Alchemy. We'll see you next week.
Authority Alchemy.
The show for positioning yourself as the #1 authority in your industry.
Quickly turn your prospects into clients and clients into raving fans.
Authority Alchemy.